Greetings all, this is Hairy Nick and I'm joined by Justin. How are you?
Not too bad, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty tired actually after the last week of doing all these X-Wing 2.0 reveals. Yeah, obviously when FFG did that big unboxing, we got the raw info on every ship and I made videos on everything and it was great, but it was a lot of work. So I'm hoping FFG don't do another big information dump like that again. I'm hoping we get little articles bit by bit which explain... hopefully, like, maybe an article that has, like, a couple of ships here and a couple of ships there. Yeah. And we get, like, just a few things left over for when the actual release happens. That's what I'm hoping anyway, because we don't really want to have to do that much stuff again. And more to the point, when I do stuff like that, I really can't go into too much detail. I have to keep powering through it. Not like today's video, because we had a few extra things kind of leaked, kind of spoiled. What we have right now is a few things traveling around in the form of demo kits for the core set. Yeah. And some various people in shops or whatever have taken pictures and it's sort of making its way around Reddit and the FFG forums. So we'll take a look at these and analyse them as best we can. Just be aware, some of these may be a little bit underdone, maybe in their kind of beta form. The wording on them seems a little bit odd. If you have a look at some of these cards, there are two different cards with the same effect, but worded differently. We're not sure why that is.
My theory behind that is that then people won't be able to use them in tournament play because they read differently.
Yeah, could be it. I'm also hearing some reports that they're printed on different kind of paper or like not cardboard, just like loose pieces of paper. Whatever, it's just for demo purposes, but it does give us an indication of what the cards seem to be doing. I don't think there's going to be anything here that's going to radically change before the core set comes out. No. So let's bring them up here on the screen and take a look at them. First up, we have all the TIE Fighter pilots included in this pack. Previously, we have seen Academy pilot and Black Squadron pilot at Initiative 1 and 3 respectively, both generic pilots, and Iden Versio, which gives a friendly nearby ship, including herself, one free dodge from any amount of damage from one attack. That seems really good, but we didn't previously see Night Beast or Vallon Rudl. Night
Beast reads, after you fully execute a blue maneuver, you may perform a focus action.
Yep, it seems good.
That's good.
Initiative 2, so I'm not thinking it's going to be very expensive, possibly even cheaper than a Black Squadron Ace. Probably without a talent, if I had to guess. Just seems like a nice, good, consistent ability. If you can invest like an extra 1 or 2 points in a TIE Fighter, that's probably where this is going to sit.
Yeah. And then we've got Vallon Rudl. After a friendly ship at range 0 to 1 defends, after damage is resolved, if any, you may perform an action.
Yeah, again, it just seems like a nice basic utility. Yeah. If it has talents, and the Black Squadrons have talents, it might cost a bit more or a bit less if it doesn't have talents. I don't know, neither of these cards really scream, oh, massive combo or anything like that. They just seem good.
Not combos, but they seem like a perfectly stock standard TIE Fighter.
Yeah, I think Vallon Rudl certainly has a higher ceiling than most TIE Fighters. The ability to cause other TIE Fighters to perform barrel rolls or boosts if it's another kind of ship means it could potentially get them into range 1 and increase the quality of his shot on return. Say he's shot by an Initiative 5 pilot and his barrel roll lets him get into range 1 for the return shot, meaning he defended at range 2. Could be good. It's very situational. Barrel rolls are hard to use to close range, but it could potentially happen. So I see this as being very good potentially, but overall, probably just a nice basic utility that you can invest in if you have a few spare points in your TIE Fighters.
Well, yeah, I think it'll be good for a good swarm build.
Yeah, exactly. I think both Night Beast and Vallon will be good for that, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And over to the X-Wings, we have nothing new here. Jack Porkins, interestingly, seems to be bundled in this box. We also had all the quick build cards revealed, and it does confirm that Jack Porkins seems to be amongst these. So there's very little chance that Jack Porkins won't be coming in the core. He's the only non-generic pilot that's going to be in both the core and the expansion, which is interesting. The expansion also comes with Wedge Antilles and Garvin Dreis. So Wedge Antilles, Garvin Dreis, Jack Porkins, and Luke Skywalker are going to be all the sort of canon rebel pilots that were part of Red Squadron during the Battle of Yavin.
Well, that makes sense. You basically have all of the Red team.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. And Big Starklighter, of course, also comes in the expansion. We do have the Cavern Angels as well, but they'll be coming in the Saul's Renegade pack. Those already come with all the 2.0 cards, so there won't be any need to put them in the conversion packs. Also revealed here are the Astromechs. Not much new to talk about. I don't believe we previously had R5 Astromech revealed. We did have R5D8, and R5 Astromech is just a generic version of R5D8 with one less charge. Same deal with R2D2 and R2 Astromech. R2D2 has one more charge, and like R5D8 is only available on the Rebel faction. Now, it is worth noting that if you have a look at these pictures, yes, there seems to be some inconsistencies in the wording, so I'm going to guess this is going to be fixed before the first release of X-Wing 2nd Edition, but that is worth taking a note. These are demo copies, so there is potential for change here, but I just think it's going to be cosmetic wording change. I don't think it's going to be function changing.
No.
And basically what this offers the factions, Scum can only take the generic versions of these cards, so they have to take the worst, cheaper version of these droids.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there'll be some droids that are only Scum only as well later on.
Oh yeah, I'm guessing there's going to be unique ones. Perhaps they do the same thing. Maybe there'll be unique Scum droids that are better versions of the generics, but have one more charge, or just have a general better scope of ability or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing this is going to be just like these ones. On the Rebel faction, it's interesting because what these generic droids offer is two things. First of all, redundancy. If you need the R2-D2 ability twice, you can take an R2 Astromech on a different ship.
Yeah.
You can't obviously take two R2-D2s. He's a unique upgrade. What it also offers the Rebel faction is a cheaper option. If you need a certain card to combo, say the R2-D2 ability is amazing with a pilot ability in some way, and you just can't afford to put R2-D2 in, you can take the cheaper version. I don't think, depending on costing, it's going to be a deal breaker taking one less charge to get some kind of combo to work.
No.
I think it's fine. Like twice a game as opposed to 3 times a game doesn't seem like a pretty big deal to me.
No, especially you think about the points reduction.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
We'll see what happens when we see the points. Also, R3 Astromechs included, and that's basically the new version of Weapons Engineer, just in the Astromech slot. Moving on to the talents we have included. Yes, EPTs are now simply called talents because that is 2 less words. Why not? Outmaneuver, Elusive, and Predator are all included. We've had all of these revealed before, but I must say I like the fact that we have abilities that reward good flying in the core set.
Yeah.
To teach this to newer players as they start playing the game is a pretty big deal, and I think is a great approach. Also, only one of them interacts with the bullseye firing arc with Predator. It's probably a good thing. We didn't want multiples of that because that's a harder thing to achieve.
Yeah.
It's a sort of a spikier, more high risk, high reward kind of card, which is going to be fun to play. It seems to have a better ability than these other cards. I mean, re-rolling dice on your attacks is going to be great offensively.
Yeah.
And sort of, again, it's about teaching the new players these effects and going, okay, you can have this really good effect, but you have to fly really well to make it work. Okay, and moving on to the mods. The hull upgrade and shield upgrade are the same as they ever were, but we're using the new language, just saying the +1 hull and shield symbols. It looks neater. Far less likely to cause someone to forget that they have the extra hull and shield. It's much clearer. Afterburners, Justin. Afterburners.
Afterburners is interesting.
Yes, as the Imperial player, I think this is going to be most relevant on your faction.
I think the Rebels will enjoy it as well.
I think so. The fact that it doesn't require the boost both surprises me and really opens up the options for this card.
Yeah.
But I think the key of what Afterburners is showing us is the direction the design's taking. There doesn't seem to be any cards or upgrades that allows you to change blank green dice to focus results. Apart from Nora Wexley, but that's only on Y-Wings and Arc 170s. There's no ace platforms that can do that. Like the old Power Bore auto thrusters or something like that. Now, if you want to avoid turrets, you have to fly away from them. That's just pretty much the long and short of it.
Yeah. And that makes me happy.
Absolutely. After you fully execute a speed 3 to 5 maneuver, you may spend 1 charge to perform a boost, even while stressed. Comes with 2 charges, only on small ships. Right off the bat, I think this is going to be stable onto Vader. Vader does no longer have the boost action, and there's no way to give it to him. And the new engine upgrades does not give any ship boost like it used to.
No.
And I feel like this is also kind of replacing what engine upgrades used to do. It's a very conditional boost that you can only use twice a game, and it can't be put on big ships.
Yeah.
It can't do the most broken things that engine upgrades used to do, like the Decimator and the Falcon and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think Afterburners is a good sort of hedge between what old auto thrusters and engine upgrades used to do. Only supplying it in certain situations on certain ships is going to be a good thing, but watch out for this on Vader because it's a free action. And Vader can just spend Force tokens and take even more actions. This does not take away from your regular action during the turn, so with this, Vader can already use 2 actions on top of all his Force tokens and extra actions and everything. That's going to be insane.
This works while stressed as well, so...
Yes. If you're stressed, you can't use all the other actions, for sure. You couldn't even use those Force tokens for other actions, but the idea is if you're not stressed,
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that this does not require you to have a boost. I really expected that, seeing as how much they're dialing back other things. But at the same time, if it's trying to replace what engine upgrades used to do, I can see why they took this approach.
Yeah, it's a fairer version. It's you get it 2 times to literally get yourself out of dodge or get yourself into...
Yeah, exactly right. I think what makes this okay in my mind is that it's only twice a game.
Yeah.
That's probably fair enough. Okay, now what I really want to talk about today, the Force upgrades. We've previously seen 2 of these, and 2 more of these have just been spoiled right here. Sense and Instinctive Aim were both used in a couple of demos, and I think Instinctive Aim was in one of the articles. Sense is basically the newer version of Intel Agent, which I think is a very powerful effect, and I think it's very fair that it's been moved into a much higher priority upgrade slot.
Yep.
Instinctive Aim is the new version of Deadeye, but it's even more potent because you no longer have to use a focus action to get your torpedoes up.
Yeah.
Now you just have torpedoes always because your Force tokens never go away. It's going to be really, really good.
That's true.
Again, it's a higher priority upgrade slot. They can do that kind of stuff because it doesn't appear on so many pilots.
Yeah.
But we also have Heightened Perception. At the start of the engagement phase, you may spend 1 Force. If you do, engage Initiative 7 instead of your standard initiative value. In other words, you're shooting first.
Yep.
I don't know about that. What do you reckon?
It makes sense for a Force-sensitive person.
But in terms of how it affects the game, like if it was something like you always fly last, oh, that'd be fantastic. But again, that'd be probably be a little bit pushed, and we don't want veteran instincts and stuff like that in the game.
Yeah.
Basically, this means you can avoid getting certain crits. It means you can potentially remove your opponent's ships first.
Yeah.
There's no more blinded parts, so there's no need to play around that anymore, so that's not going to help you with that. I don't know. I look at the rest of these cards and think, there's probably better things you can be doing with this slot.
Yeah, but if you're able to get a ship out before you get killed, you're feeling pretty good.
I guess so. I think this is going to be really good on Force pilots that don't have a particularly high initiative.
Yeah.
Like Ezra Bridger, per se. But there's no guarantee Ezra Bridger in a TIE fighter or a Phantom's going to kill something. I don't know. It just feels like the card to me is sitting in a weird space. But it might find a home. Might find a home on something. Maybe Kanan Jarrus the Ghost. Yeah, okay, I can see that.
Well, see, I can even see it being played with Vader.
Yeah, you reckon?
Yeah, because he's already using...
all of his actions, yeah.
All of his actions, so he doesn't really need...
And he's probably not going to spend all those Force tokens. It's unlikely. And I guess this means he always gets to shoot first. It's just another toolbox thing he has to make sure he doesn't get shot.
Yeah.
That could be cool, yes, I can see that. I'm not convinced just yet. I think we have to see what happens with this card. But, okay, what is generating the most hype right now is Supernatural Reflexes.
Oh, yeah.
I completely agree. I think this is something to be very interested in moving forward. Small ship only. Before you activate, you may spend 1 Force to perform a barrel roll or boost. Then if one of those was not on your action bar, you gain a damage. That second bit of text is, I think, going to stop people from abusing this too much.
Yeah.
I can't imagine too many small ships that are Force users that are going to want to voluntarily take damage.
No.
That's not ideal.
Yeah.
So we sort of have to think about what kind of platforms can do this. Obviously, the Inquisitor is going to love this because it has boost and barrel roll already.
Yep.
Really, really powerful. It's a free repositioning action. And it basically means that the Inquisitor can boost barrel or barrel roll boost. So that ship now has access to the same shenanigans that the TIE Interceptor has.
Yeah.
That's meant to be a more specific thing to the TIE Interceptor these days.
Yeah.
I am concerned about this from the point of view of FFG might not want to print too many ships with Force users that have boost and barrel roll because of this card. But at the same time, I don't think there's going to be many Force users that abuse that too much.
Yeah, and even then, all you need to do is up the price of this card.
Yeah, exactly right. I think this is not going to be cheap to begin with.
Yeah.
Also, Luke Skywalker, absolutely fantastic with this.
Yeah.
I mean, at first you might think, oh, but Nick, it only has barrel roll. When the S foils are closed, it also has
yeah.
boost, and that adds it to the action bar. And before you activate is also the text on the S foils. So you can use this and then flip your S foils.
So good.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny, they got a TIE fighter pictured here.
Yeah.
Or is it the X-Wing using the reflexes?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe it's the X-Wing.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, the fact that
Because I was sitting there going, where is the TIE fighter doing that?
But what I like about this is Vader already has amazing action economy, and I don't see this working with Vader at all.
Yeah.
So this is going to help all the other Force users get a bit of a leg up. Might push the Inquisitor through the roof a little bit, but we'll see how that goes. The Inquisitor was always very big into boost barrel roll in the first edition of the game, and I think just having the one pilot on the advanced prototype might be okay.
Yeah.
We'll see if that doesn't wreck the Inceptor too much. We'll have to find out soon, but very hyped for this card indeed. And the last thing I just want to point out here is we do have the quick build cards. If you guys aren't familiar with these are basically just quick casual builds that you can just use right out of the box. They only include upgrades that come with the expansion that they're from. So for example, all of these cards can be found in the core set. One thing to note, in these group of images we don't have the S foils or the proton torpedoes pictured. But I have also seen other images that other people have shown me, oh yes, the demo kits do include these, so they'll be in the core set as well. I don't think they're not going to give us S-foils in the core set. That'd be really frustrating.
Oh yeah.
And these are really cool. I like the design behind these. They're fun, they're canon, they don't rely on any dumb combo. I will say though, it does seem like there's a bit of issues sort of trying to balance out these TIE fighters. Because in order to get to the 2 threat level, they have to push them so far with like hull upgrades and shield upgrades, just to make them expensive enough to sit in that threat level. Obviously, the 1 threat level works with Obsidian Squadron pilots and Academy pilots, that kind of stuff. But to get a named pilot up to the prerequisite roughly 50 points of these, you have to stack on a lot of points. I mean, I don't think these talents they're going to take are going to be cheap, and we know shield upgrades are already very expensive.
Yeah.
One thing this does illuminate us to as well, though, is the fact that the TIE Fighter and the X-Wing both seem to have 2 modification slots.
Yeah.
Or at least certain pilots seem to. Now, FFG did allude to the fact that some pilots may have more modifications than others. I don't understand why that would be. I guess it's representative of their own ship, but then again, that's what titles are meant to do, so I'm not so sure what that means. I just think that both of these are going to get 2 mods each. I just feel like, my impression is, if they give different pilots different amount of mods, that's going to be unintuitive, and it's going to be difficult to remember.
Well, I suppose it means that you've got to use the app more, which
is fine.
Which they're banking on, I suppose.
But at the same time, I think being able to memorize certain builds, and just being able to pick up things easily, like having to refer to the app just to know how many mods every individual pilot can take. Well, I don't think that's intuitive enough.
Yeah, and not only that, like you go to a tournament and all of a sudden someone's got 2 upgrades on their ship and you're like, hang on, how do you do that? And they're just like, oh, the app says I can. And you're like, oh, does that mean that my build is now rendered useless because I could have had that extra?
Yeah, is my build subpar because I didn't know? I think like the app's going to be great, but they're going to have to just keep it nice and simple. Make things memorable enough so that we can still build on the fly. Having different amount of mods on different pilots I don't think is a strong move, but we'll see what happens with that moving forward. In any case, that seems to be all the upgrades and pilots we get in the core set.
Yeah.
Makes sense. It's pretty much standard. It's pretty much in line with what we had in the first edition core sets. Maybe a little bit more. They were pretty skimpy in some of those stuff.
Yeah.
Nice to see a few more Astromechs. Nice to see that they're actually giving us Force cards in the core set.
Yeah, definitely handy.
Yeah, seems to be like a new kind of game design they really want to push. So they're going to make sure they get you Luke, they get you those abilities so you can play around with them, experiment with them, and encourage you to get things like Vader and the Inquisitor down the track and have a good time with those. And, seems really good. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. In the meantime, like and subscribe, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and we'll catch you later.
Bye.